The class of 2012 on the Appalachian Trail will forever go down as one of the most legendary classes that's ever been out there. Filled with plenty of personalities, it also will go down as the class that kind of originated the documentation via YouTube of the Appalachian Trail. There was many different personalities out there, and one of them was Jeffrey Gray, also known to the hiking world as Loner. Loner became a fan favorite throughout his video series, not just because of his humbleness, but also because of his passion and love for the wilderness itself. Since leaving the Appalachian Trail after completing the 2,200-mile thru hike, Loner has went on to write the most fantastic book I personally have ever read on the Appalachian Trail. Today, on the Return of the Hiker Spotlight, we will sit down with Loner. We will get to know him a little bit. We will also talk about his current projects, as well as the future possibilities of where we may see Loner end up. Today is the Return of the Hiker Spotlight.
This is Teardrop, and welcome to New to the Wild.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you guys know, I'm JB Gunner, aka Teardrop, and we are finally bringing back a series that you all seem to love. It is the Hiker Spotlight, and no better way to get things started than with one of our all-time favorites, Jeffrey Gray, aka Loner. I'm glad to see him here. Hey, how you doing, Jeff? How's things going?
I'm doing great here. How are you doing, Teardrop?
I'm doing excellent, man. They're definitely doing excellent. I'm glad to have you here. Without a doubt. And you've been pretty busy, man, with this book thing. We're going to get into that because I think that's something that everybody, I'm showing the camera, everybody needs to go buy this book. It's called Painted Blazes. We'll talk about it more as we progress. Jeff, man, how have you been? Because I know the last time I saw you, you actually came to see me when I was in South Carolina. How have you been since then, man? How's life been treating you?
Oh, it's going good. I had to come see you. It's not every day a Teardrop comes through South Carolina, so it was fun meeting you, even though it was just for a brief moment. But yeah, everything's going great. Like you said, I've been real busy. I got the hiking itch really bad, but I haven't got out there. But everything's going good.
Absolutely. I definitely can understand and relate to that hiking itch. I get it even now when I first leave the trail, there's a lot of me that's like, man, I'm glad I'm out of here. I can't wait to get home. But then once I get home, it kind of goes away, and I'm just like, man, I need to get back out. It's kind of, I don't know if you felt relief when you got home that first time, knowing that you weren't going to have to hike 20 miles that next day. But I did, and but it doesn't take long for me to miss it again. What about yourself?
Oh yeah, well, you go through a little bit of withdrawal, but also you're happy to be home in your own bed, eating your things you're used to eating and seeing your friends. And all that stuff is good, but yeah, after a few weeks, you do miss the trail, and you even miss ramen, you miss things like that. But
I agree. Here's the thing: we all now know you currently as the author Jeffrey Gray, but what I would like to touch on is where everybody originally knew you as, and that's Loner. Obviously, that's your trail name. What's the origins of that trail name, man?
Well, I've always been a shy guy. I always hung out by myself, and I guess I picked the trail name for myself before I went off because I knew I was going to make a YouTube video series. I watched Tuts and I watched Clean Shave and Hover, and I loved their video, diaries of the trail or their vlogs, and I knew I wanted to do the same thing. So I picked the name so it would be easy for people to find, and I'm Loner, so I stay by myself. I've only stayed in 3 shelters, and 2 of those times I was all by myself. Otherwise, I would just camp up the trail by myself, hang in my hammock, and I was still friends with everybody, but yeah, I'm a Loner.
Absolutely. No, it makes perfect sense to me. And it was funny because your videos, along with Tuts, along with Apache, I remember and even August, that 2012 class is what literally fed into me wanting to hike the trail. You changed my entire life, and I say that, and everybody thinks I'm just being dramatic, but I can't explain how much that actually meant. How does it feel that your videos touch so many people? You have thousands of subscribers. How's that feel?
Oh, it's great. I feel like I was one of the ones that first started trying to do more editing, more, show the trail more. yeah, there's been several people that have told me that I was the inspiration of their hike, or Tuts, or FM from the 2012 and Apache. We kind of we got a lot of fans that year, but now it's even bigger. Some of the guys now, they get 6,000 subscribers. Dixie, she's got like 60,000.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that? And Apache does too, by the way. He's up in the 50,000.
Yeah.
Darwin, a couple of others too. So this has turned into doing these video blogs has turned into a big deal.
I think so too, and what we're starting to get is people with a lot more video editing and a lot more video talent than you and I even have. Because it's and that, I think that's why they're earning so many subscribers, and I commend every last one of them, because I know how much work these videos take, and I know you do too, because your recent series you dropped with all the secret excess footage. I know that took some work too. What was your thoughts when you released that?
Well, it's still going. We got I think number 26 or 27 is going to be released tomorrow. There's only 2 or 3 more, but it's almost finished.
Yeah.
I had all this footage. I had sent home SD cards, and I had used what I could, but I had so many pictures and so many video that I didn't put in for the sake of time that I thought it was a good way to release it now and kind of promote the book at the same time without spamming, but give people some good content and kind of mix it in with the book too.
Absolutely. Now, obviously, Loner, you did your hike in 2012, but one of the questions I want to ask you is, how long prior to that had you been hiking? How long have you been hiking? How long have you been in the industry? I don't know why I said that.
In the hobby. Well, I've always hiked. Even as a kid, I would ramble through the woods back behind my house for miles and miles and miles by myself, and I'd come back at the end of the day with turtles and arrowheads and ducks and who knows what else. And so I always was playing in the woods. But I didn't start camping. I didn't start camping until like in 2009, 2010. I started practicing, not practicing for the trail, but hiking different trails and little short ones. And that's how it started, around 2009, 2010.
Excellent. And since the Appalachian Trail, since you left the trail after your 2,200 miles in 2012, have you done any hiking? Have you been back on any trails?
Oh yeah, I went back and I did another. I think I did 70 miles. It's either 50 or 70 miles I did in the Whites. I'm sorry, I'm messing up. I went back to Maine and I did the whole Bigelows again. And this was in 2016, I think, 2015. And I went and hung out with Sam I Am and his buddy Red Hot for a little while, and that was cool. Yeah. So I did that again, and I also did probably another 50 miles on the Foothills Trail, which is here in South Carolina, just for some weekend hikes and stuff like that, but nothing long distance.
Oh man, all that stuff is that's the thing, is that a lot of us get too wrapped up in this whole long distance or through hiking thing, and a lot, and I deal with it a lot. Is a lot of people tend to not give credit to people that go out and hike 50 miles or 100 miles, and do you see what I'm saying? Those hikes are to me more important, because there's not that big strain of having to get all the way to Katahdin. You get to get out there and just enjoy yourself for a weekend or whatever it is you're going to do. Do you feel the same way?
Oh yeah, they're much more relaxing, and those are just like little, just to get out and kind of bug out for a while. But I do miss the trail life. I miss not knowing where you're going to sleep each night, and not knowing the next town you're going to come to, and all this kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, and you genuinely did that, man. You used because obviously you hung your hammock. Do you regret using the hammock in your hike, or would you rather maybe use the tent? Just kind of curious.
No, I tried a tent in my pre-hikes, and I found every rock and every stick and every ant and every mouse that was in the forest. So the hammock was made for me. That's what I really like, and if I hike again, that's what I'll use.
Absolutely. Now, we've discussed your hiking experience. This year, you haven't been out there. You've been promoting your book. Just kind of curious, because I know everybody wants to know. Do you have any future hiking plans? Can we possibly anticipate at some point a Loner PCT through hike? I know everyone asks me that. The PCT is beautiful. I've watched Apache, I watched FM, I watched Dixie this year,
and it looks amazing, but it looks extremely difficult. And also another thing why I haven't jumped on this PCT thing is that those guys have already done a great job documenting that trail. Beautiful. Dixie even had a drone with her this year. So it'd be hard to even top that, or even, at this point, I don't know. That shouldn't be a reason why I don't want to do it. I'm also worried about the high elevations. I'm worried about finding a place to hang my hammock. I'm worried about the long distance with no water because I have a very small pack. So probably not the PCT right now.
Okay. No, that's an honest answer. I appreciate that. Do you have any other trails that you kind of got your eye on that you're like, if I can get time to go do this, or if everything falls into place, I may consider that trail at some point?
Well, sure. The more I've been talking about the book and answering questions, the more I've really been wanting to hike and watching a lot of videos recently. So I've kind of got an idea of what I want to do next year. I kind of want to do like 3 or 4 of these week-long trails. It may be 100 miles, 70 miles. There's 3 or 4 here on the East Coast that I could do. And if I did those all in a row, I'd get my trail aids, and I could just hit them all in one shot. I'd have to do some traveling, but the Foothills Trail. I would love to do the Vermont Trail. It's part of the AT for a little bit, but I'd love to do that because I love Vermont. And there's a few others. So that's kind of where I'm leaning to, but I don't have anything scheduled just yet.
Absolutely, man. Excellent, man. Let me ask you, you went through this long journey on the Appalachian Trail. Do you have a favorite hiking moment from that trip, or just in general?
Wow. That was a good question. Favorite hiking moment. Well, I love the Whites. It was so beautiful. It was also, I don't want to say dangerous, but that was where I had my most potential danger. But the sense of accomplishment of reaching Mount Washington and getting to take my picture at the top, and it was so windy and cold, and it was such a struggle to get there. I had to do a zero in the woods, in the mountains, before I could even get there because the weather was so bad. So maybe that was one of them, but there was a ton of them. You know how it is every day there's special moments.
Absolutely. And so my next question actually was, what was your favorite hiking area? Is it safe to say it's the Whites? Is that your favorite area to hike in?
Well, I can't say it was my favorite because it's very difficult and it wasn't easy at all. But the Vermont was beautiful. Vermont was super nice. You have a chance of seeing moose every day. There's beautiful ponds. Just the landscape was awesome. Fire towers to look out from. So I would go for Vermont still.
Absolutely. Now let me ask you. We went through the positives. Do you have a worst hiking moment you'd like to share?
Well, I know it will sound like a broken record and say Pennsylvania, but man, Pennsylvania about to kick my butt. There's rocks there, and of course there's rocks all along the trail, and there's roots all along the trail. But yeah, they wore out my shoes, they put holes in the end of my walking sticks, my trekking poles. 100-degree days, very little water. I missed my water source one day, and I had to go like 16 miles with no water.
Man.
So yeah, Pennsylvania was rough on me, and other people say that too, but I don't know, something about Pennsylvania.
It's odd that you say. It's funny that you say that because during some of my hikes recently, where I've made it further and further, there was a couple areas that was extremely rocky, even in the south. And I remember saying to my hiking partner and just in general, shit, excuse me, but if these are like this here, I can't imagine hiking in Pennsylvania. And my hiking partner, KB, he actually lives in Pennsylvania. So
yeah.
So he was like, yeah, this ain't nothing compared to Pennsylvania. So
I can't wait to watch you and KB hike the trail next year.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's going to be fun, man.
Hopefully, I'm going to be following along with every video.
Hopefully we can get you out there, man, especially when we're close, because we don't live too far away from you right now. We're kind of close,
A couple, 3 hours.
Yeah. So,
I'll definitely be I'll definitely be at trail days, and I'll definitely be doing some sections in that area.
Yeah. I know Hike Hunter wants to come out and do a region right there by his cabin. So maybe we can all time this right where we're all, hanging out together, man.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think so too. Now, we talked about your best moments, your best areas. Do you have a favorite hiking town or hostel or anything of that nature?
Well, I went to a lot of hostels and did resupply and checked them out, but I didn't stay at very many. I stayed at a couple, but not very many. The one I will suggest, the one I really liked was in Waynesboro, in Pennsylvania, and well, no, that was Waynesboro, Virginia. I'm sorry. It was right after you get done with the Shenandoahs, and it was in the bottom of a church, and well, I can't pronounce the name right now, but it was like in the storm shelter of a church, and they had us a taco salad dinner, and that was one of the only times that I ever stayed at a hostel with a bunch of people. There must have been 20 people in there, and they had cots on army cots lined up on both sides, 2 rows, and it was a lot of fun. I got to meet a lot of hikers there. I actually took 2 showers in one day. I think that was the only time that happened on the whole trail. But it was great, and I didn't sleep any because I couldn't sleep with all those people. I ended up going to the TV room with some other people who couldn't sleep, but it was really nice, and it was just donation based, and that's the one I always remember. And one of the hostels that I went to.
Absolutely, you had me at taco salad. The minute you said taco salad, I was in. Let me ask you: do you have all right, so that was your favorite hostel, so to speak, or I know you didn't do many. Was there a town that stuck out in your head that you said, man, I really love this town?
Well, it was a lot. Irwin was really cool. I had a hard time getting settled in Irwin, but once I did, it's become one of my favorite towns, and I visit it every time I go up the highway. I always stop by and see it, just for memories. Other favorite trail towns, Andover, New Hampshire was super awesome. And everyone will tell you that. There's nowhere really to stay in town. I camped right outside of town and did 0 there. And came back in the next day and had more fun. And you haven't made it to any of those up there yet, but yeah, you'll love Andover. Just super nice people and a lot of freebies. And I'm a cheapie, so I'm a cheapskate. So all the free stuff, I really liked. All of those stores, each one that you go into will have a free Snickers or a free donut or a free slice of pizza. Yeah. So,
don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I like economically sound purchases or gifts. I remember when I first came out to the Appalachian Trail, my shuttle driver went to Dahlonega, right, which essentially is right by Springer, and there was this little general store that had a sign that says coffee 50 cents, no, a quarter. And I was shocked to see a cup of coffee for a quarter. I remember being like, wow, these trail towns are amazing. Do you have a worse, and I know you don't want to go too far into anything negative. Do you have a worse trail town or maybe even a worse hostel, anything like that sticks out in your head?
Yeah, I've heard this from other hikers too, but Damascus, man, I didn't have any luck in Damascus. When I first went through, when I hiked through, I was about a week before trail days. And I went to the place, and I was going to try to stay at the place. I had friends there. I was invited there, and I don't think the guy running it, his name was Bayou, I don't think he believed I was a thru hiker. He gave me the 5th degree, like the FBI interrogation, with all these questions. What town did you stop in last? What day did you start? And all this stuff, because I had a very small backpack.
Right.
And maybe he thought I was like a hobo or something, trying to cause trouble. I ended up, I paid for the night, it's only like $7 or whatever. And he wouldn't even let me go inside. All I could do is leave my backpack outside and go inside and use the shower. I wasn't allowed to stay the night. And I wasn't told to leave, but I was told not to walk around inside. This is after I paid, so I was kind of ill about that. The water was cold, stuff like that. But I have to also say that since then, I went back to trail days a few years later, and everyone in town was just wonderful. I had a great time. All the hikers were great. I didn't have any trouble. Yeah. I'll always remember that.
Did you, and this is kind of off the cusp, you just kind of reminded me, did you by any chance see the recent story involving the owners of Hey Joe's and one of our fellow hikers, a young Jewish fellow by the name of Johnston? Did you by some chance to get a chance to look at that video? Did you see what had happened?
Yeah, I watched 2 or 3 videos that you posted about it. And boy, I know there's bad people in every town or whatever, but that really sucks. And it gave Damascus even a worse name than maybe it already had for trouble like that.
I agree. If you had any words maybe that you could give to, and because here's what I feel about this is I feel that we already have a situation where minorities honestly feel um, cautious about coming out onto the trail because it's the backwoods. You know what I mean?
There's very few. There's very few.
Yeah. If you had any words, if it was minorities watching right now, if you had any words to explain to them what the trail is about and how that's not necessarily part of the culture, how would you word it?
Well, I would say feel free to come out because it's a beautiful trail. It's a beautiful culture, a beautiful subculture of hikers, trail angels, business owners. That particular instance was one of the only one of the few I've heard of. There's maybe a couple, but there's not very many. Most business owners, most hostel owners, most trail angels, shuttle drivers will bend over backwards to help you, no matter who you are, because there is people from all over the world
Right.
that come and hike this trail who don't have any trouble. Germany. I met people from Australia. I met people from all different kind of places in Asia, and unfortunately, there's a few bad stories, but there's very few. I think you'd find more in your local newspaper than you'll find on the whole Appalachian Trail.
I think you nailed it. I think you nailed it, and I think you're right. And that's kind of one of the things. And I know a lot of people were surprised to see me go so hard on it. But at the end of the day, we all are one big community, and anything like this that happens that's bad, I feel it kind of shines as a bad example for even us. I don't know if that's really the word I'm trying to use, but and I think that sometimes us as a community needs to step up and just talk against those things.
No, and I respect you for doing that. And I know you get a bad rap sometimes, but I know that you love this community and you love hiking and you love the trail and you wouldn't do anything to hurt it, and you would do everything you could to help it.
Absolutely, man, and I thank you for being someone that notices that. Now, let me ask you: you've been everywhere on this trail. What is your scariest moment that you had while hiking? I know you had to have that one that made you almost crap yourself. Let me have it.
Well, in the Shenandoahs, I was hiking along, and there's no hunting there, so all the animals are wild, and they're not afraid of humans at all. And I come around this corner, and there's a bear standing right in the trail. He's walking towards me, and I'm walking towards him. And I stopped in my tracks, and I was whoa, and he just looked at me, and then he gave me a bluff charge, like to tell me not to get any closer. And made a grunting sound. And I didn't run, but I did back up a little. I didn't stand there stoic. I moved a few feet back and just kind of assessed the situation. And after a minute, he could tell I wasn't a threat. And he just walked a few feet off the trail and started eating. But it scared me bad. And I had to sit down afterward. After I got it in a safe distance away, I had to sit down and catch my breath because I wasn't expecting that. And he wasn't huge. He was 150 pounds, but he was cool to see, and it was cool to be that close to a wild animal. But yeah, that one definitely gave me a fright.
I'm not going to lie to you. I would have had to change my entire lower regions because there's no way. Because here's the thing. I walked up on a bear down on Standing Indian who was going to the bathroom on the trail. And I got lucky and he did not bluff charge me. I still have never been bluff charged. I don't know how I would react. Now, I know we all know not to run. But I don't know how I would react. So with you, I'm shocked to, that's a crazy story. So if he would have came at you, Jen, this is just for some of the new hikers out here. Just curious, how would you have handled it? Because these bears are, regardless of size, they can kill you. Obviously, how would you have handled it if he would have kept going at you?
Well, in that situation, with him just facing each other down, you want to act as big as possible, but you don't want to be intimidating. But now, again, if he does charge, if that bear comes towards you and is getting too close, you need to yell. You need to throw anything you can find. And if he does swing at you, if he's attacking you, you need to fight for your life with anything that you have.
Yeah.
I wouldn't play dead. I've heard people say play dead. I think I'm gonna give them a few swings and try my best.
Grizzlies, from what I've done some research. From my understanding, grizzlies are the only ones that actually can work with. I still wouldn't do it, but
I don't want no grizzly.
yeah, no. If you bump into a grizzly, if I have a gun, I'm just going to shoot myself right then because I know there's no way I could defeat a grizzly. You know, there's just, and even a black bear. You know, you wonder to yourself, can you do it? And but no, you know. Now, for the record, I want everybody watching this interview to understand these attacks are not real life. They don't really happen on a regular basis.
I haven't heard of any. I haven't heard of any on the AT. I've heard of some in Virginia and some in North Carolina. I haven't heard of anyone being attacked on the Appalachian Trail.
Right.
The best to do is to give them a wide berth. Just stay away from them.
Yeah. No, I agree. But because we were talking about it, I wanted to clarify to some of maybe the new people that's coming out in 2018 that may be apprehensive about bears. Trust me, you will rarely even see bears, but when you do, it'll be majestic, not scary at all.
Most of them run away as soon as they see you.
Yeah. No, I agree. Now, you've met a lot of people on this trail. Is there anybody that sticks out in your head? Anybody that's the most memorable people or faces that you remember from the trail?
So many, and I know we're going to talk about the book later, but that's one of the things that I've really enjoyed about the book is I've got to reconnect with a lot of these people. Joe Ford is one of your subscribers. They comment on some of your videos. We met several times. We hiked a few days in the Whites, and he taught me some tricks. So Joe Ford is one of them. I got to meet Baltimore Jack. He's another one. He's passed away now. But he's a trail legend. He has a bad rap too sometimes. Some people like him, some people don't like him. To me, he took me under his arm and he gave me some tips for the Whites that helped me on my trip. And a super nice guy to me, you know. And because I can't speak for everyone, because some people have had bad experiences. Sure. But Baltimore Jack is awesome. I also got to meet Warren Doyle, who's kind of the opposite of Baltimore Jack. And I really liked him too. We had some great conversations, and so those are some of the legends I met. Yeah. But there's so many different people. I couldn't even name them all. There's so many.
Oh yeah, and I'm definitely not trying to put you on the spot here because I know how it feels. I haven't even been through the whole thing, and if I was put on the spot and said to meet everybody that I thought was memorable, crap, I'd be here all day. So we've talked about your future plans, but now what I'd really like to get into is what you're currently doing, what is currently going on with Jeffrey Gray. I'm showing the camera once again. This is his book. It's called Painted Blazes. I was one of the first people that he sent this out to before it was released, and it's an amazing book. I'm going to take it with me when I hike in 2018 even, because it's a cool book, man. So anyway, what made you write this book, and did you always know as you were hiking that you were going to write this book?
Oh, no. The whole time I was hiking, I knew I was concentrating on the videos. I had no idea I was going to write a book. I didn't keep any notes. I didn't anything like that. I had no idea I was going to write a book. I thought the video series was going to be my heirloom to the trail. But I noticed a few years later, you know, after the trail, not everyone, but a lot of people kept asking me questions about gear, about the favorite parts of the trail, what place is a good place to stop off at this town, stuff like that. And I missed the trail so much, I found out that I'd write these really long answers back. And I started taking those answers and putting them in the descriptions of the corresponding video.
Yeah.
And I also found out that I was forgetting some of my friends' names, the trail names, or the towns that I stopped at, and I didn't want to forget. And so I just started writing. And even then, I didn't know I was going to release it as a book. And it took 3 years of work to do. I did a lot of research, and I connected with a lot of people and asked questions. And but it's been very rewarding. And I would encourage anyone else who's interested in doing that to do it, because it's not as hard as you think. If I can do it, anyone can.
And that's an amazing story, because I can tell you went back and you grabbed a lot of research for this, and it was amazing when I read this book. See, I've read other AT books, and the truth of this is, believe it or not, this was one of the most comprehensive, detailed hiking books I'd ever seen. And I want to commend you for that. And I think that a lot of people that are coming out here for the first time would learn a lot from this book. After you wrote it, were you considering shopping it around for a deal? And I know that you obviously your mother was involved in how you ended up publishing this. Why don't you tell a little bit of that story and a little bit more about that?
Well, I considered the traditional publishing for only a very short time. I talked to one gentleman, and the first thing he wanted me to do was change everybody's name in the book to a fake name, make everyone have a generic name. And I wasn't willing to even do that. He didn't want me to put any of the hiker tips in. Throughout the book, there's hiker tips and there's fun facts, and he didn't want any of those in. And so that was early on. And so from early on, I knew that I wasn't going to go that way. My mom did have a publishing company of her own, which was very small, very grassroots. And so she offered me that right away. That's what we both wanted, and that's what we ended up doing. And today, with the way things are, with print and ship and all this kind of stuff, going the traditional route is maybe for the professionals. I'm nowhere near a professional writer. I struggled with it, but I think it came out okay.
I think it came out great, and it was really cool to see kind of the legacy live on through this book, and that you picked it up with Shadow Archer Press, and I love it in general. And your mother.
Thank you.
Your mother used to comment on a lot of my videos, and
Yeah.
One New to the Wild, man, and I'm definitely honored there. Now, with this book, obviously you didn't know it was going to become a book, and so you kind of put it all together over a 3-year period of time. Now, since you've released it, what platforms could people go to possibly purchase your book? Do they just go to your website? Why don't you let them know how to get a hold of the book?
Oh yeah, there's plenty of different ways. The easiest, fastest way is Amazon. Amazon's got a system already in place. You click that button and you can order that book in print or ebook. And ebook is instant. You get it in 10 seconds. And it's only $4.99. If you order the print book, it's $14.99. Once you click that button, it'll be in your house about 2 or 3, maybe 4 days at the most. And the quality is beautiful. You can put it up against any Random House book or anything like that. The quality is outstanding.
Absolutely.
Of the printing and the cover and all that.
I'm showing them right now, and as you can see with this book, it is well done, well put together. And I will tell you guys now, the chapters are in order. I will tell you that now. You're going to get the whole trail in order, and you will get to see the passion and emotion that Jeffrey felt as he was hiking this trail. And to me, and I don't just say this because I'm a loner fan. I say this because I'm also an author, and I also love to read books. This is one of the absolute best books I've ever read. Loner, how did you come up with the idea of Painted Blazes as the title?
Yeah, I get that question a lot too. I think a lot of hikers know immediately what that means, but a lot of other people who maybe aren't, who are just curious, I always wonder about that. There was a lot of books. There's already a lot of books about the AT. If you look around, there might be 100 books. There might be 10 a year that come out. So it's very hard to find a unique title. I didn't want to put Hike the Appalachian Trail. I didn't want to put How to Hike the Appalachian Trail. I wanted something different, but that also explained what we're doing. And I don't know. I had about 10 different names that I was looking at, and that's the one that jumped out at me. And when I see it, I know exactly what, I can feel myself walking down the trail when I'm looking for the next White Blaze.
Absolutely. Now, you're not a very braggadocious guy, so this question may be hard for you. All right. There is a reason that every person needs to go buy this book. Please tell them what that reason is, why this is a must-have for their book collection.
Well, I think it shows a lot more detail. I've read a lot of books too. I might have 30 AT books, and you don't necessarily need to know exactly what shelter you're at, but if you hear a story about that shelter, maybe who built it, maybe different shelters along the trail, maybe some tragedy that happened there, Same with the towns. There's a lot of towns that I walked through during my hike and thought they were cool. And when I got home and started researching those towns, I learned so much more. And that's what I put in the book that you won't find anywhere else.
Absolutely. And I know that was hard for you because you're a humble guy. So you selling yourself right now was a little difficult. And it's one thing for me to sit and brag his book up and brag him up. But the truth of this is this book has a lot of value to both new hikers and people that's been on the trail, because it'll be reminiscent of the places you visited and a lot of the things that you went through. I'm not going to give too much more because I don't want to spoil the book. I do want them to go order this. So in this book, though, however, you talked about being ultralight. You talked about a lot of the things that made it a little easier for you. Is there anything that stuck out in your mind, that the one thing that maybe that without giving up too much in the book, that you would tell a hiker that would make their hike easier?
Well, like you said, I'm an ultralight hiker, and everyone has to hike their own thing and carry what's comfortable for you. But the least amount of items you can carry is the lighter your pack's going to be. The lighter your pack starts out with, the less you're going to carry and the less you're going to have for weight. So I would start out with the very first thing, the biggest purchase you have is get that pack as small as you can, as light as you can.
Absolutely, man, and I thank you. Now, what I'm going to start doing with these hiker spotlights is at the end, I do want you guys to shout out your social media and your YouTubes or however they can get a hold of you. But I'm going to do this with everybody. I want you to tell the people one personal thing, not hiking related, thing about yourself that they may not know.
Wow. For people watching, you probably don't know that I was a hardcore skateboarder for almost 30 years. I don't look like a skateboarder. I'm a great big guy. But yeah, that's kind of my first love. Since I was 12 years old, I've been a huge skateboarder, and even have my own skateboard company and my own team for a while.
Absolutely, man. Let me ask you, have you cut your beard since you stopped hiking?
Oh yeah, I've shaved it a few times. This is about 6 months, and yeah, I got the Wolfman Jack going.
No doubt.
A funny story about that, TV. The last time I got my hair trimmed, she asked me what I wanted to do, and I said, "You got to leave the beard because I want to look like the picture on the back of my book, and they won't believe that I wrote it."
Oh yeah, no, that makes sense. No doubt about it. So, with all this being said, man, okay, these people, if they do not know, which they have to have lived under a rock, if anyone's watching my channel and you don't know who Loner is, there's something wrong with you. But how can they find you? How can they get a hold of you? How can they stay in touch with you, whether it be to buy your book, whether it be to watch your videos, whether it be to just chat and say, hey?
Well, the first thing I suggest is YouTube. Loner 2012 AT on YouTube. You can just punch in Loner and you'll find me. I've got a website, paintedblazes.com, easy to remember. You can always have all my contact information there. My email is there, and anyone feel free you're welcome to email me any questions or about the book or about hiking, about anything, or just to chat. So,
absolutely.
And I'm also on Facebook now. I've been on Facebook since like 2009, but I thought I had deleted my account and everything a long time ago. But I went to restart that, and it was all still there. So I've gotten a lot of friends lately, and if you look up Jeffrey Gray or Painted Blazes on Facebook, I think you can find me and, be my friend.
Yeah, funny story about that. I sent you a friend request a long time ago, and then I think it was this year, all of a sudden it says, Jeffrey Gray accepts your friend request. I was like, man, I sent that thing like 3 years ago. Or so it was a long time ago. But, yeah, man, Loner, man, I appreciate you being here today. Any final words that you have for maybe the people watching this or anything of that nature?
Well, I just want to thank everybody for the support. I want to thank you for your support and all you've done, not just for me, but for the hiking community. And all the people who bought the book or even just watched the videos or left a comment. That's the biggest thing for me is the back and forth that I get from it. And I just want to thank everybody for that.
Man, that's absolutely wonderful. This has been the first episode of the rebirth the rebirth of the Hiker Spotlight, man. And who better to start it off than Loner himself? Loner, man, thank you so much for being here. And I definitely look forward to talking to you in the future and hopefully getting out there and hiking with you, man. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you, Jeff. Good luck next year.
Thank you so much, man. We're hopefully all right. Make me a deal. If I through hike, then you'll consider the PCT 2019.
Sure, I'll go with that.
Oh, fuck you. Excuse me. I tried
Maybe
to
we'll
cut.
do it. And maybe we'll both do the PCT in
Bye,
19.
bitches.